Love is in the air. It's getting close to Valentine's Day, where you gotta show that special someone that you really care about them. And what better way to show them that than a Bitcoin Valentine's Day shirt? Because we love Bitcoin, am I right? But do you know who doesn't love Bitcoin? Federal governments. Today we're gonna be looking at a tale of the Bank of England and why they're trying to create a CBDC, and they definitely don't want it to be called Brit-coin. Let's get it. Welcome to Billboard Crypto. My name is Ben. Don't forget to get your sweetie a Bitcoin shirt. Head on over to hitmerch.com if you want to check these out. Hurry up while you still got a girlfriend and Bitcoin's over 20K. Today we're going to be talking about the Bank of England and their journey towards a CBDC and whether or not XRP is going to be involved. So if you're in the XRP army, you're definitely going to want to watch this video until the very end. But there's a lot to unpack here. So first, some people are against this. The former Bank of England advisor says CBDCs are not worth the risk. Amid the interest following CBDCs, the former Bank of England advisor Tony Yates states that the project is not worth it. According to Yates, the risks and costs of rolling out digital currencies are way higher than their benefits. So it seems like he's just an anti-digital currency guy. However, the finance minister of England, Jeremy Hunt, says that the digital pound or Brit-coin would be issued by the Bank of England. As part of the statement, BOE Governor Andrew Bailey emphasized that a digital pound would provide a new way to pay, help businesses maintain trust in money, and better protect financial stability. However, there are a number of implications which our technical work would need to carefully consider. This consultation and the further work the bank would now do will be the foundation of what would be a profound decision for the country on the way we use money. So you've got some people against it. You have some of the government, the finance minister is saying, hey, we think this is a good thing. But just keep in mind, guys, there's a lot of bad things about a CBDC. But some of those bad things are preventable if we get to them on the front end before they roll them out. That's going to be extremely pivotal in this situation. So the Bank of England is being pretty careful in considering what they're going to do here. But they did launch the Digital Pound Project, and they're looking at it as a new form of money. Deputy BOE Governor John Cunliffe said a digital pound could complement and support new forms of private digital money payment services and help drive down transaction costs charged by credit card and other payment merchants. He also flagged the high cost of sending money overseas, something new digital currencies could bring down. What does that last part sound like? I don't know. They are in the middle of an ocean over there. This is definitely causing ripples, I'll tell you that much. But this is what's good about a CBDC. For us to say that there are negative things about it is honest, but for us to say there's only negatives, that's intellectually dishonest. It will be faster, it will make the economy run more efficiently. And it could also help drive out credit card transaction processing companies because it's going to extremely cut down on those fees. But what's going on here in Britain is Brit-coin. You guys remember Brexit, right? You got Brexit, you got Brit-coin, you got breakfast. Did they invent breakfast? I don't know. UK gets closer to launching a digital currency. Here they're calling it Brit-coin. Brit-coin is moving closer to reality. More than 80% of the world's central banks are considering launching digital currencies or already have done so. While cash is here to stay, a digital pound issued and backed by the Bank of England could be a new way to pay that's trusted, accessible, and easy to use. Of course, more advantages. Treasury Chief Jeremy Hunt said in a statement, "That's why we want to investigate what is possible first, whilst always making sure we protect financial stability." The stability is what they're concerned with. The sovereignty and privacy is what we're concerned with. But check this out. Don't call it a comeback. Make sure also don't call it a Brit-coin. They don't like that. The digital pound is nothing like crypto, right? Of course, earlier they explained all the advantages of crypto over traditional money, but they do not want to be associated with Bitcoin. The Bank of England is not okay with the press calling a digital pound issued by the central bank the Brit-coin. The digital pound can be confused in people's mind with crypto assets, such as Bitcoin. I should take this opportunity to correct this misapprehension. Indeed, nothing could be further from the truth, Bank of England Deputy Governor John Cunliffe said during a Tuesday speech on the central bank's new plans for a digital pound. A majority of cryptocurrencies are highly speculative and have no intrinsic value, Cunliffe said, adding that although it is possible some technologies underlying crypto could help develop a digital version of the pound, the bank is considering a range of options. Now, this seems to line up with what Jerome Powell said about the digital dollar in 2020. He said, we could open this up to private companies who maybe have already created infrastructure to roll out a blockchain with a CBDC. That's why I've always told you guys, USDC looks like to be that coin. Jerome Powell opened that conversation up in 2020. What are these other options that they're referring to? Could it be one of these options is Ripple? Is that on the table? Is XRP on the table? Some people think so. Bank of England mentions Ripple in new CBDC consultation paper. Here's why. So let's look at this. How is Ripple involved in the CBDC of England? What role will Ripple play in this project is relatively unclear this time. However, the US company is mentioned in the consultation paper under the heading Enable Private Sector Innovation. Almost the exact same wording that Jerome Powell used 3 years ago. And in connection with RTGS, real-time gross settlement. We've always told you, XRP, well, that blockchain, it's a network of value, not a network of information like Swift. It makes much more sense for you to actually be sending value instead of messages and information when doing a transaction. In reference to this, the Bank of England cites two projects, a DLT or distributed ledger technology, proof of concept on which it worked with Baton Systems, Clearmatics Technologies Ltd, R3, and Token, a cross-border synchronization project. This is where Ripple comes in. Cross-border synchronization, a joint project with Ripple demonstrating that synchronized FTX transactions in two different simulated RTGS systems can be achieved, leading to the incorporation of synchronization functionality into the roadmap for renewal. Furthermore, the central bank states that it's been working with the industry to develop new strategies and structures so the benefits of innovative technologies can be enjoyed by new types of private sector companies. What's a new type of private sector companies? That's right, Ripple Apps, located here in the USA, but trying to be the banking solution for the entire world when it comes to cross-border payments and transactions. And if you think about it, well, they've already had a lot of the groundwork for what could work for a CBDC. Now, something to think about here is US dollar becoming the national level CBDC. But what about wholesale CBDCs? If USDC is the retail digital dollar, could it be that we see another coin become the parent of the wholesale, of the banking infrastructure, of institutions and hedge funds? Could we be that they service them? This would be Ripple. This would be the company that would do this. They've already got a lot of these high-level relationships. Something to think about. Why is that important? Well, it's important because you need to have a way to basically supplement the world reserve currency, which is the US dollar, and all these banking transactions that are going to be digital. See, CBDCs are going to roll out a country at a time. So it's going to be really hard for a bank to settle those in real time without there being one central coin to look at to do those transactions with, similar to what the US dollar is in the fiat reserve system. Hope that makes sense. I know it's a little heady there, a little deep level for you guys, but you guys are smart like that. Then we have this here, Bank of England, US Treasury support digital pound project. Say UK likely to need CBDC, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There are some downsides. There are some cons, if you will, to this. I mean, some people would say fiat currency is a con itself. It's too early to commit to build the infrastructure for one, but we're convinced that further preparatory work is justified. Read another statement in this consultation report. According to the Telegraph, the Bank of England and the UK Treasury will go public with their stance next week, rolling out a roadmap that will lead to the successful introduction of the digital pound to the UK economy by 2030. It's a very important number. I told you guys last year in 2022 that we could expect the CBDC for the US to roll out in the next 3 to 5 years. Well, that puts us at about 2026 potentially, maybe 2027. Brit-coin, I'm going to call it Brit-coin. It will be coming shortly thereafter. That seems to line up with the timelines. But it's too early to commit. So we're not saying that we've made all the decisions on this quite yet. There's still a lot of work to be done. It's a very complicated process trying to roll out a digital CBDC when the only place we've seen it done is China. And it didn't go so well so far. Of course, but they can force it on their people. Don't worry about that. Don't forget to subscribe to Bitboy Crypto on YouTube, but you can also follow us on all the socials. Just go to bitboycrypto.com. You get information about the book, You can go to merch and see everything there. Of course, if you want to contact us, send us a resume, you can do that on bitboycrypto.com as well. There's Frankie Candles. What a great looking guy. But here's where things get a little scary. Digital pound holdings could be limited to 10K, central bank says. What's our biggest fear with CBDC? Well, that's not being able to spend our own money. Now they're saying the UK citizens can only hold 10,000 pounds in their wallet. That's about $12,000. We're not talking about $1 million. A lot of people have that amount. Why are they going to only be able to have a certain amount? The bank would place some limits on holdings, at least during its introductory period, a rollout, to avoid citizens hoarding their assets in a safe central bank money and skirting around the commercial banking system. They're going to force you in the system, guys. We judge that a limit of between 10,000 and 20,000 pounds per individual is likely to strike an appropriate balance between managing risks, supporting the wide usability of the digital pound. The question is, who's going to get access to this first? Is it going to be the common person, or is it going to be the elite? Are the elite going to get in there and be able to get an advantage, or are they going to roll this out? When they say roll it out in waves, does that mean roll out to everyone in waves? Roll out by tax bracket? Who knows? Roll out by city? Of course, you can arrange cities in a way that reads from the wealthiest to the poorest and vice versa. So that's yet to be seen at this point. And of course, that drives home exactly what we've been saying. We need this to be open. I understand a rollout, but already right off the rip, talking about limiting how much their citizens can hold, that's what scares me about a CBDC here in America. This is why we're working on regulation and we're working to get smart rules in place in order to prevent those types of things. We don't want people not allowed to spend their money because of a take on social media. That's truly the Orwellian nightmare that we could be living in if regulation is not put out ahead of time to prevent social credit scores. So when can we expect Brit-coin? Bank of England and Treasury explore possibility of launching state-backed digital pound. No guys, it's Brit-coin. Stop calling it the digital pound. It sounds dirty. Consultation will last for about 4 months, with a design phase to follow until 2025 at least. Only then will a final decision on this asset be made, right as the US CBDC is probably going to be coming to fruition. If they decide to go for it, the launch would require significant investment, and this would happen sometime in the second half of the decade, moving towards 2030. What's this story about? Why is this so important to cover? Well, number one, a developed first world country like the UK, well, we need to see what they're doing with the CBDC, how it could affect us and the way we set ours up. But is there more here? Is this a dog whistle to the financial world? This is coming. There's nothing you can do to stop it. We're going to roll this out slowly, and we're not making final decisions yet. But we need to do this in a way that protects the traditional financial system. They're open to it, but they're also showing restraint. But yet, it's financial evolution. We know CBDCs are coming. The question is, will Brit-coin be one of the first and UK users will be ahead of the technological curve? Or will they be like those guys using Blackberries when the iPhone 8 came out? That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.